today we're talking to Brian McCloy. Brian McCloy is a very famous quantity surveyor in Australia today. So his career, basically he had government origins, but then he spent almost 13 years in the oil and gas industry and worked for companies like Shell and Woodside. He also spent 17 years at Lend-Lease, and currently now works with Evans and Peck, and he's now the national manager of their cost engineering capability. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you.
So today we're going to ask Brian some sort of topical questions on the QS profession today in Australia. Brian, the first question I'd like to ask you, there's been some recent spates of QS companies being bought up by large engineering houses. What do you think, what changes do you think that's going to cause in the QS landscape in Australia?
Adam, I think we're going to see a reduction in the large QS practices that are being taken up by these international engineering organisations.
Yeah.
And I think actually that it provides, in some ways, opportunities for quantity surveyors getting into an engineering field,
Yeah.
potential to travel the world and have those career opportunities in such a company.
Yeah.
But it won't be in the traditional QSing services, I expect.
Right.
On the downside, I think that you will see that falling away of the large companies and the profession's profile in its own right,
Yeah.
because it will be mixed up within the engineering profession.
Right.
I think there's going to be good opportunity for the smaller QS companies to actually backfill some of that space, because I do find it a little bit interesting that some of their quantity surveying traditional clients might just be a bit daunted in speaking to a large international engineering group to look at their residential development somewhere. Who knows? But there will be some changes, I expect.
Yeah. The next question really is about hiring quantity surveyors. And obviously you interview a lot of quantity surveyors when you have vacant positions here. So apart from like the usual requirements of experience and qualifications that they have to have, what do you look for when you're hiring a quantity surveyor?
Obviously we check all the qualifications and experience first, but
Yeah.
I do actually drill into that experience to know what actually have they done,
Yeah.
what responsibilities have they actually had on those projects, what tasks did they actually do,
Yeah.
and to understand the depth of experience they've actually gained.
Yeah.
But I also look at their personal behaviours, and I really look at their communication skills, the way they
Yeah.
present themselves. I also look at the way they listen,
Okay.
and the way they respond,
Yeah.
and the way that their responses are considered. So those types of human attributes, I think, figure very highly with me, because I'm looking for people who engage in their career development, that will join our firm, trust our firm that it will do the right thing, providing they do the right thing, and have that loyalty, and end up in a growth in their profession. I want to be able to pick those people who I see growing themselves and our business as one.
It's interesting you mentioned loyalty there, because before I was a recruiter, I worked in quantity surveying, and I had one job for 15 years. It's rare you see that these days, especially maybe in the sort of the younger generation. Why do you think that is?
Well, we talk about Gen Y as being the now generation. They want everything now, they want everything quickly.
Yeah.
They do a task and they want to move on.
Yeah.
It is just a mobile phone, better communication. This modern society we are in now, I mean, it is a now organisation. They organise their social events at a whim, whereas once upon a time there was more formality to that. I think the whole thing about Generation Y is an interesting topic,
Yeah.
and that we don't expect people to necessarily stay as long as they're not lifers anymore. There's every chance they may do some years and move on. But if it's 5 or 6 years in an organisation and they've taken that logical progression of their career, I'm not too worried by that.
No.
It's the person who wants to move on after a year,
Yeah.
10 months, that type of thing, for better money and so on. That's the person that really, I think, has to consider whether that's a good strategy.
Absolutely.